Okay, so I'm once again, booby's out. It's pretty warm. It's about, I don't know, 8 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock, something like that in the morning, and I'm up on the starboard side deck of the boat. So this window here is the forwardmost window on the boat, on the cabin. The deck under me, like all of the paint and everything under me is really, really thick. It's about 5mm thick. I'll smash some chips off soon. You'll see sort of how chunky it is. Basically, we've got to rip all of the paint off so that we can sandblast it, but it's all vulcanized rubber. The way that we deal with it is we've got a big electric hammer drill with a chisel on it, 50mm wide chisel, and we just bash it off with that, strip it right down to the steel, and then we sandblast what's left, and it takes a fraction of the time if we do it that way. So yeah, I'll get into it and you'll see how full on the original paint is. So this is sort of what it starts like. You can sort of see that like a sand type finish. That's the chisel that we use. So it's it's slightly narrower than 2 inches, but yeah, basically 50mm chisel. And this is what we're left with. Like when we bash it off, big chunks of paint. So you can sort of see how thick that is. There's, I don't know, at least 4 layers that I can see, but they're really thick layers. So yeah, just massive big chunks of paint basically. So you can sort of see how much we've done. Looking forward, so I've done maybe half of it. I don't know, it's taken me probably 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And then this is what the finish underneath that you're left with. So you can sort of see that's basically bare steel. This is a little bit of what I can assume is vulcanized rubber because it's quite sort of spongy. And occasionally this stuff here, I don't know if you can see the difference, but occasionally this stuff here is it's a 2-pack that they've put on. The surprising thing is the 2-pack is really weak, so you can hit it with a chisel and it'll just explode off, whereas the vulcanized rubber, because it's flexible, kind of like a single pack, you hit it with a chisel and it just kind of bends out the way. It's probably, out of everything that we've experienced on this boat, the original red lead primer is without doubt the best possible paint that you can put on steel because it just doesn't come off. Vulcanized rubber is probably the next best, and then I would say 2-pack in terms of impact resistance and things like that. 2-pack's good for like abrasion, like you can stand on it heaps and it won't wear away, but as soon as you bop something with it, like a wharf or anything like that, it just chips away. See this boat behind me? So it's painted in 2-pack. You can see all of that sort of grey there, that's bare steel, so it's all basically essentially chipped off. It's 2-pack paint, so the grey side is basically the etch, and that's what bites into the metal, and the white, in this case the white and the red side is exposed to the elements. It's, I don't know, 4 or 5 layers thick, but my experience of 2-pack is it doesn't really hold on to the metal that great, and it's really hard and brittle, so you can basically just snap it, you know. It's really, really brittle in that sense. Okay, so I need to seal the hatch. That's basically the main engine hatch. I need to seal that down to the deck. So there's a couple of ways that I do that. It's sort of a bit of a 2-prong approach. I make a jig and I use sealant, but I have a trick that stops all of the sealant from squeezing out between the joints. So I'll show you how I do that. So this here is basically the recess that the hatch sits in. The hatch sits on top like that and bolts down through all of these different bolts here. What I need to do is essentially have a wide bead of sealant all the way around when I bolt it down, but I need the sealant not to squeeze out the sides. So there's a simple trick that I use to make that happen. So I run a bead of sealant all the way around this edge here. I don't have to go right over the bolts or anything like that. That's not needed at this stage. So basically I create a nice bead all the way around, and it's quite a big bead, so maybe 5-6mm tall. And then I let that, so this etch has been on here about 6 hours, so I want to put the sealant on now so the etch and the sealant chemically bond together. And then I'm going to let that sealant go dry, so I'll probably leave it for maybe at least 24 hours. and then I'm going to put the rest of the seal together and put the hatch on top of it. But the way that I get this bead is what I wanted to show you. So a bit of just old plastic, pipe that you get for your drains or whatever. However, I cut the end in a very particular way. So I slot it, actually, so you can see that. So that's the back, that's the shape that I'm going to be left with. The sealant's going to rise up in that bump, and I cut a big hole in it. You can sort of see if I line it up like that, there's a great big hole so that the sealant doesn't hit the plastic pipe first. And what I do is I sit this on here, so I can sit, I'll show you right down low. So that edge there keeps me lined up that way, and that edge there keeps me lined up that way. So with those two, I can sort of rock it and I can feel exactly where it needs to sit. So you can sort of see that there, and as I pull that along, the big cutaway at the front misses all of the sealant, so doesn't go all over your work, and then it's left with that shape at the back. So I'll do that all the way around all of the all four edges, and then as I say, let it set for 24 hours or so and go hard. And then when I put the bead of sealant, around all the rest of this area here, it's not going to squeeze out that way, because that way adjust the camera. It's not going to squeeze out that way because the big thick bead of sealant will be physically creating like a dam, if that makes sense. It will squeeze out this side, which is what I want, because when the lid's on, I'm going to bolt it all down, and then I'm going to go around my thumb and actually just smooth that right off and make it a really nice, neat join. So that's how I seal up some of our access hatches. So this is a slow job, but it's easier if you've got two people. You can do it by yourself, but it's much easier with two people. So in this case, Jess is basically squeezing out a nice thick bead of Sika, or we're using not Sika, it's Fix 1.5, something like that. And then we run our jig along. I'll show you the jig. You end up with big piles of Sika inside like that, or sorry, I keep saying Sika, sealant. You end up with big piles of sealant inside like that. So that's it done all the way around, so you can sort of see the white basically all over everything. It does bead up a little bit on the bolts if we can find some, so you can sort of see this one here and this one here. It's sort of beaded up on one side, doesn't matter, you can cut that out later and deal with it. But essentially what you've left with is a nice clean, see if we can show you down there, basically a raised sealant bump the whole way around. So this is the dry room, so we're going to be doing some work in the bathroom and dry room now while we wait for everything else to dry or seal up or whatever it needs to do. So we're putting a drain into the bottom of this floor. We didn't think about it before. We're going to chuck a drain in here so that no matter what, this area can empty. And then in the bathroom, so this is the bathroom, we've taken the toilet off, that's the stainless mount that it normally sits on. We're going to get rid of that drain there. It's too hard, we're just going to do it a different way. I'm going to put a small drain in this corner here and a small drain back here somewhere. And we're going to build a 25mm slot all the way down the wall, and then the tiles will go up to that slot and run into that track, and then it'll go down the two drains. Sounds complex, but it's actually a hell of a lot easier than what we were going to do. So we're going to drill out this one here and then weld it in, and then same with those two over there in the bathroom, so we'll get stuck into it. The drains are all cut and welded in now, so we need to go through and cut all of the tiles ready to have them fitted. I don't have a continuous diamond blade like I probably should for ceramic tiles. I've got a diamond blade, but it has notches cut in it to clear whatever it's designed to cut. I don't actually know what it's designed to cut, masonry or something like that. So I don't know how great the cuts are going to be, but we'll give it a shot and see how we go. So I put the first one in dry fit and everything, and it seems to have worked right. The next size, I'm going to do this one over here because it's slightly more complex and not the most complex in the room. So I cut a template and that sort of fits in there pretty good. So we'll go and chop this now and see if it works. So this is the shape that I have to cut, so it's basically a straight line with a slight curve, like a slight kink on one end. What my plan is, I'm assuming I'll cut in here like that. Well, that's fucking horrific. Let's just get that cut first. Okay, it's definitely not the tidiest of jobs in the world, but yeah, we might be able to use it, maybe. New day, new challenge. So yeah, the tiles weren't a great success. We did that yesterday, and we put that on pause for now until we go and get a better blade and whatnot. We've got to finish off these rear doors. So all of the lounge inside here, all the lounge and everything's been painted. We've had one coat of etch on the floor, so it's not going to rust. Yeah, we've got to weld a few sort of 3mm strips and 6mm strips and stuff onto these doors, so we'll get that done. And then we've got to check them for warps, because they'll almost certainly warp with all the welding. Clean that up, straighten the doors up, and yeah, we can grind them up clean. I'll take them downstairs, winch them down, grind them up clean, and then we can start blasting them and getting those painted as well. So let's get into it. So in order to get the right height for all of our seals and all that sort of stuff on these doors, I actually have to build them up slightly. So this red piece is 50mm dimension that way, and I have to add a piece of 3mm, so this is just 3x25 flat bar, so I have to add a piece of 3mm, and then I have to do the same here, because if you see up here, you've got, this is flat 3mm plate welded onto 50x25, so there's a slight drop down here. So I have to, in order for it to all be the same height, I have to build these two surfaces up. So I build that up by putting a 3mm flat bar on it, and then I actually add, you can see the two layers here, so there's 50mm there, then there's the 3mm there, and then I put 50x6 here, and that actually forms a seal. So you can see that it overlaps the door quite a bit, and that'll become the thing that the seal actually, the rubber seal gets jammed by. And there's, you can sort of see up the top here, that it's a little bit hard, but let me show you this way. So you can sort of see there that there's a 3mm gap built into the door there, and that's what the rubber is going to get compressed by. So this here, imagine that being rubber rather than steel. That's yeah, that's how it's all going to get compressed. So if I can get far enough back, so that door there is a child door to that door, which is the parent door. So that one has to shut first, and then this door here will have overlapping seals. So down the bottom you can see I started to build an overlapping seal. You can see that there, it fits into that slot there. So this door will get ratcheted tight, and this will be the regular door that we go in and out of. But when we want to, we can open both of them, and this door here will also be sealed up against the other door. The freezer room hatch, this basically allows us to get big stuff in and out of that room. We were going to put a like a sealant bead all the way around, exactly like what we did on that hatch there. You can see that white bead all the way around like that. we were going to do a similar thing, but we realised we don't need to, and it would be overkill on this hatch. So we're actually going to use open cell foam. So this is our door to, sorry, I'll come back. This is our door to go inside the boat, just a temporary door. And we got this open cell foam, I don't know if you can see that. We got that, we thought it would last about 3 months. That's been on there for about 12 months, and it's really, really rigid and tight and fantastic stuff. We got it just so that we could seal the door for bugs, and it's worked absolutely brilliant for that. So we're actually going to use it on this, because it's going to be a heck of a lot easier to do that, because this one here doesn't have to be watertight and all that other stuff. It just has to be essentially noise proof, so that people downstairs can have a conversation and it can't be heard in the lounge and vice versa. We just want to give people a bit of privacy, so we're going to give that tape a go. It just basically adhesive tapes on, so it should be a piece of cake. And you can see all down the back, Jess has painted up all of the back hinge area, so I'll do it. So we've got heaps done. That's been a couple of days worth of work that you've seen here. There's more to go. We've got to finish off doing the bathroom. We're going to do the cement work on the bathroom. We didn't get to that. Some other things propped up. We have made all the moulds and everything like that. I can sort of show you this. So you can see the bathroom. We've run some tape all the way around, so when we put the cement in, it doesn't go everywhere. We've made some wooden moulds to achieve the shapes and everything that we need. So that'll be pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to actually putting that together. So we're hopefully going to give that a go in the next day or two. If anybody else has any questions for us or wants to give us any sort of thoughts or advice, please feel free to chuck it in the comments. Absolutely love hearing from you guys, and it's either myself, Jess, or Ryan that read and respond to the comments, depending on whose area of specialty it is and that sort of thing. So yeah, thanks very much. And finally, I just want to thank our Patreons. So we've recently set up our Patreon account, and we've got 4 Patreons now, which to us is a huge number. So really want to say thanks to everybody that's taken the time and chucked a bit in the pot. It really helps with everything that we're doing. Thanks very much, guys. Talk to you soon.